Hello, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mike.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we're taking a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of the 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 5 of our deconstruction of Big Trouble in Little China. I'm back with Mike and a special guest on this episode. Mike Cook is here to help us talk through the movie. Hey Mike.
Hey, how's it going on?
It's going good. It's been a minute since we recorded, so if we're a little rusty, we got to knock the rust off.
Life has taken hold.
Life comes at you fast.
Life comes.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about your background with Big Trouble in Little China?
Sure. So, Big Trouble in Little China, it's a movie that has a special place in my heart. Like, I love it almost entirely from nostalgia. I've gone back and watched a lot of these films recently. A lot of things that I kind of half remember. Like, I remembered rewatching it. I remembered the plot. I remember what happened. I remember the sequences. But I did not really remember the movie. It is interesting rewatching it, and that's kind of true with most of Carpenter's stuff.
This is definitely a movie, I think, where the only thing you might remember about it is that you thought it was really cool when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And I do feel like this movie especially is like a different experience watching it as like a film savvy adult versus a teenager who was watching, the VHS or whatever in your room.
Yeah, I totally mirror what you say, Mike. Like, I saw the movie when I was a kid, and it's like, I was like, oh, bright lights and karate, and look at all the spectacle of the film. And it's kind of, it's fun to go back now and rewatch it and look at it from like a technical standpoint. And it's like, oh, I now I see why that worked. And we've talked about this movie before, and it's a very practical film. And so it's really cool to see how they did all that practical special effects.
Yeah. Each rewatch of the movie, you notice how much more weird of a movie it is. On each watch, like, what were they thinking to, I don't know. It's just, it's that movie that it's just an odd experience.
Yeah, I still don't feel that it's odd though. Like, and that's just me because I maybe just because I love it so much. But I totally understand what you're saying, like with how it is.
I mean, that's what I love about Carpenter in general, is he's not afraid to just throw stuff against the wall and see what's happening, right? Like, if he thinks this is going to be a cool sequence, he's not going to let very much stop him, it seems like.
I wonder if that's been like his Achilles heel, though, like in Hollywood.
Yeah, his strength and his weakness, probably.
Yeah. This section we're going to cover from Egg and Chu are telling us all about Lo Pan up until the moment that Wang and Jack are tied up in the dungeon at Lo Pan's hangout. So, to get right into it, as I just said, we got Egg and Chu are explaining to Gracie, Law, that Lo Pan's like an evil spirit. He's been cursed to live forever as a demon, but he desires to be like a flesh and blood man again.
I think one of the themes of that part was like the balance between positive and negative energy in life. So, I guess that's
he's like out of balance, so he's stuck in this loop, I guess, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps to have Gracie there because it gives an excuse for the exposition to just be getting spewed out of these two guys who both know it all already.
Yeah. A lot of those scenes in this movie. A lot of sitting around like a table and telling the plot of the story.
Which I guess is one benefit to having like the outsider white character in there, is that they don't know what's going on when all the Chinese characters do know already. I did notice that Egg sort of reduces all of Chinese culture down to a salad bar.
What did he say?
It's like your salad bar. We just take what we want and we leave the rest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does at the same point. It's pretty valid, right? Like a lot of cultures we don't recognize, but most religions came from places, right? There's a line of kind of descendancy. Things come from things. Stories get adapted from one religion over to another religion. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he is talking the truth, but he is also kind of simplifying.
It's very reductionist.
Right. Yeah, no, you don't get very long with the theories. I mean, a lot of that is, or at least my understanding of a lot of Eastern religion, mythology, whatever, a lot of that stuff is pretty good. It's a pretty decent summary, right? You want people to have an idea, but you don't really want to necessarily bore them with a whole bunch of culture.
A history lesson.
Right.
Isn't America also like a hodgepodge of, we'll have Jewish words that have made their way into,
Right.
or we're eating pizza and we think of that as American food, and it's like a
even
cultures.
They don't talk about one particular religion in this movie though. They talk about
it is
they talk about spirits and and
mysticism, and also Buddhism, and
the hall is filled with Buddhists. When there's a wheelchair at the end of at this end of this episode.
Yeah, I went to Thailand for my honeymoon, and that's all you saw was like Buddhist monks and temples and everything like that, and Buddha's all over the place. So it's kind of interesting that they got away with showing as much Buddha as you could, because it's like a huge. It's almost like
not showing the image.
Yeah, not showing the image. Yeah, not showing Muhammad. Like that's like you can't take Buddha out of the country.
It's the opposite of that.
Yeah, so it's like everywhere. It's weird that it's like all over this film.
Like we've discussed, I think previously, that this movie in its first stages was set to be a Western, or set in the Wild West, like an Indiana Jones type spinoff, like a white man who enters this culture and gets swept up into like a supernatural, mystical adventure. And I'm wondering, what do you think? Do you think the mysticism and the supernatural elements of this whole story would play better in sort of more of an ancient setting, or do you like that it's like all neon lights and whatever sports cars and stuff?
I can't think of like a sci-fi Western other than Star Wars. Apparently Star Wars is a sci-fi Western. So I think that if you take a good story, you can put it anywhere, but like Westerns are so like based on like horses and country. I see like a lot of brown and dirt and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't know if that would work.
Well, I mean, Star Trek is also technically a Western.
Really?
Deep Space Nine is Stagecoach, if I remember right.
It's like anything, where it's like outsiders coming in to clean up this town.
Right.
Basically, it's sort of like a Western theme.
Well, you have the cowboy, who is the lone individual rugged hero or a band, and then you also have exploration in an area that's unknown with a lot of hostile things.
But for me, like if you don't say that it's a Western, then I would never see that as a Western.
Right.
Like Westerns to me are very distinct in their look and their feel, and you can take the same story and plug it somewhere else, and I wouldn't be like, well, that's not a Western. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's almost like it's like the proto language or whatever, right? We have proto languages, but basically that's the story, right? You reduce it down and it is the same story a lot of times, or it's different stories in setting. Western now is more as much setting as it is like genre tropes. So yeah, I definitely get your point, but at the same point, like, you had Ford who inspired Kurosawa to do his Chanbara stuff, and then that inspires so many other. That inspires Star Wars. That inspires other Westerns, Magnificent Seven. Yeah.
Could we say that this movie's a rom-com then? Like, there's a lot of romance in it. There's a lot of comedy in it. Like, it's not really a Western.
Much like Chinese culture, this movie is like a hodgepodge of a lot of stuff. Anyway, I think, though, Jack, as like a truck driver, is sort of maybe the closest parallel we have to that loner cowboy, like in modern America, just a guy who roams the earth. Getting into adventures. I can't really think of too many other occupations where you're long hours by yourself just roaming the American landscape.
Serial killer. I mean,
that's an occupation.
That's a lot of, for some people it is. Okay. I know people made a lot of money off of that.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this movie too, right? Like we're saying, it's a mash. The first thing that Jack makes me think of with him going in, even though he's in America, right, which is an area he knows, to me it almost feels like the stranger in a strange land type of story. That's really kind of the story they seem like they're doing, but then really everybody else, the strange land in air quotes, the Chinese folks really kind of just handle their own business, and Jack is just kind of there for the ride.
He's totally an outsider. I mean, he's not aware of all the the inner machinations of what's even going on. He's just like, I just want my truck back.
Yeah. Well, he's in Chinatown, which I feel like I've never been to San Francisco. I know you've been, Kevin.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been, Mike. But I feel like I would feel weird if I walked into Chinatown like today, and this movie was made back in the 80s.
Especially if you walk down like the back alley where tourists don't go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I feel like I'm an outsider here, and everyone's probably wondering what I'm doing here.
Yeah. So I guess it is interesting that you could be in America but not feel like you're in America.
We cut back to Jack and Wang. They're trapped in an elevator, and Jack has got his bravado up, and he's like, I'll just hop out the hatch in the top and climb up the cable. And Wang's like, no, you're not going to do that.
It's all
like
greased
we're having
up.
these stories down. It's like covered in grease.
Yeah.
Anyway, as they're having this debate, the elevator starts to fill up with water. There's like a sort of movie serial type, gag or whatever. You're trapped in the chamber. And
I love this scene because they start arguing right after this. Like, they're like, there's almost like a I told you so kind of a argument. Like, no, I told you to do this. No, I told you to do that. It's like they always have like some element of comedy threaded through this entire movie. Like, even when they're like about to drown in this elevator, like the moment where they should be at their most, peril, they're like joking on each other, like ratting on each other. That's to me one of the best parts of this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely fun because there's never a moment where it's not winking at you, and I totally love that. I really love this is fun. We know it's supposed to be fun. We're just gonna do this.
Yeah.
I don't think there's barely a scene in the movie that doesn't play for laughs in the scene. There's a weird line where Jack's like, "This is salt water," and I'm just wondering. I didn't see him taste it. I don't know if he's melted or whatever.
Well, yeah.
It's just one of those things like, don't worry. If we got you at this point in the movie, like, you're with us for the ride.
Well, more was like, why was that a relevant piece of information? Like, I imagine that there's some, I don't know, it almost felt like there was somebody behind the scenes telling him about a lot of this mythology, and there's like a reason why it would be salt water would be important, because they immediately go into the next room, right?
All it means to me is that it's ocean water.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't see how that's
so
relevant.
like
and
if
Chinatown is not, to my memory, is not particularly close to the shore, like to the ocean or the San Francisco Bay. Anyway,
what if it had been freshwater? What would have been the difference?
They're going to drown the same.
Yeah, I mean, like if it had been freshwater, that would have meant what?
Right.
As opposed to saltwater?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Well, the only thing I can think of is, each of these floors of the building are essentially like a level of Chinese hell.
Yeah, there are a lot of hells discussed in the movie.
Although they never really get into it and why they're all in this building, or it's the same thing with Lo Pan. Like, I know he wants to be flesh and bone, but he shows up and like destroys his rig, and they never really explain why he wants to be mortal. They say, "Oh, he's restricted because he's not mortal," but I don't think they ever.
He says he's trapped in this aging, like decrepit, crippled body.
Right.
Yeah.
But he can also manifest himself as like the spirit guy whenever he wants to. But I guess he can't like touch anything,
things.
so maybe he doesn't have those like earthly delights.
So he can take three forms. He has three forms in the movie. He has the spirit form, and then he has the old man form, but then he has that one form that we saw in the alley. So he takes on three forms, but we don't know which is the true form of Lo Pan. I would imagine the spirit form is the true form because that's the one that he wants to get back to the most.
I'm not convinced that when we see him in the alley with no makeup, that is supposed to be Lo Pan, as much as maybe just a chance for him to get his face on the screen with no makeup on.
This is totally a movie where I could see that they filmed something and then later they're like, oh, well, no one's gonna know.
It's almost just like when Hitchcock wanders through the background of the movie and you're like, hey, there's Hitchcock. But I don't think that it's not meant to mean anything.
That's a pretty direct scene, though. Like, they make a point of pointing him out in that scene.
It's a close-up.
Yeah, so they could have easily have edited it out. I mean, I know what you're saying. Like they could have, like, oh, oops, well, don't worry about it. It won't make any sense to anybody. But they make a point of showing him, like, especially when the truck passes him, and even when he gets hit by the truck later on. Like, I think that don't they even say that he takes on three forms?
Well, he wants to be himself a young man again, but that's after he marries the green-eyed girl and sacrifices her or whatever. I'm just not convinced if you can appear in that form Why would he ever be the guy in the wheelchair?
Maybe that's his go to the store form. Like he's got a sex up the green-eyed girl form, and then he's got the old man form, and then he's got going to Kroger form.
Well, and that's what I was saying is you could even tie that into the stakes of the movie, saying, hey, the form that he's in right now, he's bound to his mortal form, which is the old man form, and because of this curse, he can't be freed from it. And that old man is going to die soon, right? So then your stakes are, hey, we really need to stop this, because if we can stop this, then he's going to die and he'll permanently leave as a threat. Or even just a throwaway line of, he's limited in power while he's bound to the earth. They don't say anything. They just say he wants to marry. If he marries this woman and sacrifices her, it's the ultimate evil bad end. But they don't actually really explain. I guess, I don't know. You don't want to over-explain in an action movie either. It's more, so sometimes it's fun to actually do this, right? Just guess.
Yeah.
And maybe there were scenes where there was a lot more explanation and it just bogged the movie down. I'm a little fuzzy just on the physics of the elevator filling up with water. Like, is it being lowered into water?
Or I guess the whole shaft
water being
would have
pumped
to be...
in? Because then they pull the doors open and they swim into the next room and it's a whole room that's flooded.
So now this is the beauty of movies. They could be anywhere, and there's 1,000 different ways that they could have gotten water. They could have had PVC pipe that was mystical PVC pipe that was flooded that water. I don't know. I think that I don't think it matters. It really like in the big scheme of things. Really I think that it's just cool that they flooded the thing and then they have to escape from it.
Yeah, it's like the classic. We got to escape the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they swim into the next chamber, right? And there's all these eviscerated bodies chained up down there, and it's really pretty gruesome. Like you get some John Carpenter flavor there, where he's like his horror roots or whatever. Like it's flesh, and
you also get a taste of Chinese mythology, and like their cosmology especially can be pretty nasty. I mean, so can everybody's, but
that's the hell of the upside down sinners.
When we did like episode 1 or 2, like I didn't even know that the Tongs was a real group. Like I didn't know that the Tong War was a real war. I thought that was maybe something they just wrote for the movie, but that was an actual real thing. So it is possible that is a hell in Chinese hell.
I did get as far as reading like Dante's Inferno. There's Chinese mythology that's like different levels of hell or whatever, but I couldn't find the names of those. And if those sync up to the ones that are used in the movie. All right. They're in the water. They swim up to the surface where there's air again. And they get one of the 3 storms is like up there looking down on them.
Yeah.
Right? And then we just cut to, I think, they're tied up in a wheelchair. Like, we don't really see how they got them out of the water or anything. Once again, it's one of those things that just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that was Rain that they saw up above them.
Okay.
And so then Rain is in the next scene and he's whooping their ass. Like they're torturing the hell out of Jack and Wang.
There was an interesting thing I read that said that the actor who played Rain, he did not know until he was at the premiere that the movie was a comedy. Because I think his scenes, I don't think he was present in any scene where it's jokes being exchanged. So all he knows is he was probably there just kicking dudes' asses in all his scenes, and he didn't know what was happening when he wasn't there.
Now, can you imagine, like, hey mom, I'm in this movie, like I'm playing this role, and it's like this really dark and sinister role, and this is a dark and gritty movie, and then you show up like the day of the premiere, and it's like this goofball comedy. Like, how do you like that would feel pretty bad.
Well, and if I remember right, which is really weird, that cut between them being near the top of the water and then all of a sudden, Jack getting like hit by the balls or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't cut to anything else, I don't think. I think it's just a direct cut.
Yeah.
I think so.
And it's really weird because very shortly thereafter, they're like trying to get into the building, and they could have just pushed that cut up and it would have not been as distracting. Like, it's probably not something you see the first time you see it. And once again, it's probably maybe overthinking a little bit, but it's like, you don't really need to know how they get out of the water. The important thing is they get them out of the water, they're tying them.
That's what we do here.
Right. We ask these questions.
But it's such a weird direct cut. They're just like, okay, we're over here now.
I think there was probably a lot of material on the cutting room floor.
Oh,
of this
yeah.
movie, and there's like, oh yeah, there was another scene with Gracie in there, but it just didn't work or whatever.
Yeah. What did they say? Like, when you film a movie, you like edit it down to like a third of what you filmed. filmed or something like
Probably.
that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyway, yeah, as you just said, like Rain is like kicking Jack's ass with Nerf balls. Basically, like I don't know what that is.
And he summons them.
Thank you.
He makes them materialize from thin air, right? Like he closes his hand and opens it, and there's an orange ball or whatever there, and then he whacks him with it. But then they're just piled up on the floor at Jack's feet.
Thank you for saying that, because I was like, the way he does it, I was like, is that supposed to be like a soft ball, like a Nerf ball that he floats into his body real fast, so fast that it hurts him? If that was like an actual, like a hard, like a lacrosse ball, let's say, like he could have just thrown it at him and that would have hurt. But I think the whole point was that he materialized this soft ball and like he gently blows it and it almost knocks him out.
It would make more sense if it was like, a ball of electricity or I don't know, something that was non-physical.
And he's Rain, right? And it's like, why does Rain have lightning? Literally had lightning.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if that wasn't something that was supposed to be changed in post, and all they could do, like the red balls, was maybe like where they would have, I don't know, maybe they had things, or maybe they did a cut where he went down and all of a sudden they realized all of their cuts had all of these red balls everywhere. They're like, I guess that's just what he's tossing at him now. We'll save some money.
That is a good, yeah.
I feel like it could have been ice, maybe, like Rain can make a ball of water and freeze it and...
Yeah, and it would actually grow kind of like the ball does.
Yeah, but maybe that effect didn't work and they're like, just make it
there, we're just sitting here wondering, like, why is he got a red...
superimpose over that orange ball anyway to make it look like ice. Fuck it.
That's a good call. I've never thought about that before.
You never know with this movie, right? It's like, to me, there's so many things like the end of Python. Like, was that really supposed to be the end of Python, or did they just literally run out of money?
I don't understand, because you like in making a movie, like you film scenes all over the place, so they could have filmed that scene first. What do you mean you ran out of money? Like you had to have budgeted everything out before you even started filming. So
right.
I could see a grip walking through the background of a scene, and Carpenter's like, "Oh yeah, we went for that to be there. No, just go with it."
Yeah.
That was Lopan's support staff.
Yeah. Didn't he? I think he said he had like some budgetary like problems making this film. So
I'm sure. I mean, this film, especially the age that it's in, the amount of ambition that he has, he probably got really. I bet his budgets were kept going up and down. Because I don't know, did the thing even do well in the theater?
It did awful until home video.
Yeah. I love it when people say budget problems, but like that movie was probably still made for, let's say, I'm just throwing out a number, $30 million, right? I mean, because you have to pay Kurt Russell, you have to pay the cast and everything like that. You had to pay. They built a set. They built a whole set.
They thought it was going to be like one of the biggest couple movies of that year.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out that way. The marketing was funky or something on it, but they thought it was going to be a cash cow. Yeah. So I know they spent some money.
Hey, listen, anybody out there, if you want to give me $30 million to make a film, please send it my way. I will give you my address. I will make it work.
I want to say 86 was like a really good year for movies too.
Top Gun was that year.
Yeah.
That had to be the big one.
Yeah. Sometimes you just never know what you're going to release against.
Right.
Top Gun came out the same year? That's funny because like Top Gun seems like it was so ahead of its time, and this movie was such like a throwback to like old school filmmaking.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of weird that they both were made at the same time.
That's kind of the funny thing to me too. I was thinking about this when we were talking about history. Is I feel like this was one of the last big like mainstream kung fu movies. Like, there had been a number through the 70s and early 80s. Like, you had the Ninja series and whatnot. But I want to say the Ninja series ended, like, 83 or something. And, you will have the occasional Bruce Lee movie, like Bruce Lee biopic. But even that kind of got pushed into the 90s. This feels like one of the last big... I don't know, maybe it accidentally killed it.
That could be... You mean like Americanized, but with the Hong Kong feel, not just like Chuck Norris karate movies, but...
Well, yeah, kind of both even, though, right? Well, I mean, I guess Chuck Norris did have a few movies after this, but...
Or up until like Jackie Chan, I guess. With like Rush Hour and all the stuff. And Shanghai Nights.
Were doing pretty well.
Yeah.
As well. But, I mean, I'm thinking about like a big budget, not just a pulp karate movie.
And this is kind of pulling it out of... Because a lot of the stuff that we did get, I don't know, I guess we did end up going, like, you had Kickboxer and Bloodsport.
Yeah.
And
they
those
were
are
still making movies, but those were $5 million movies, not
and they weren't
studio releases.
Yeah, and they definitely weren't like American films, like...
Well, and they didn't have all the pulp that this does, right? It doesn't have all the pulp that it's pulling from.
Now, next thing, they're wheeling Jack and Wang into like ornate great hall of Lopan's hangout here.
This is when the movie
there's
starts.
A lot of rooms in this warehouse.
Yeah.
And different, like, very different decor. You know, he's got, like, the chained up corpses over here and then, like, the really just ornate, you know, all the statues and Buddhas and all of this stuff.
I think of Lopan kind of like a vampire. Like, he's been around for, like, centuries, so he's had enough time to, like, collect all this money. You know, so that's why he can afford to have all the things that he has. Like, he probably didn't
he's been the crime boss of Chinatown probably since Chinatown was founded, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like the Dracula's castle, right? It's, I have this castle, I have all this money, I'm very mystically powerful, so I've built down into the ground, so I've got my castle here, but nobody really knows it, which also plays into, like, the hell theme of, like, being on the ground.
I wonder if somebody read Dante's Inferno before they wrote this script.
I think they probably read the real Chinese, like, mythology to get to that. So they're in the Great Hall, right, and an ancient-looking old man on a motorized wheelchair comes cruising in, and the makeup on this dude is incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
was that Rick Baker?
I don't know who the makeup artist was on it, but I know
looks like
John Carpenter's, like, that's his bread and butter, you know, is, like, creature effects and stuff like that. So, of course, you expect that to be awesome, but this is... we don't know who this is, right? Because Jack tells him, we're looking for Lopan. And the guy says, well, you found him. I mean, this scene is played for... This is one of the funniest scenes in the movie,
Absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely. So, like, when Lopan first comes out, they're like, we're looking for Lopan. He's like, what? Like an old man.
It's kind of like Yoda's introduction, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like he's playing the feeble old man and senile and all that, but then you realize there's a lot more to him.
Yep.
Lopan tells him this Miao Yin must be very special for all the effort that they're putting into trying to get her back, and he's been waiting thousands of years for a green-eyed girl, and starts asking Wang all sorts of questions about her and what's her parentage and all this stuff. But I know we've had this discussion before, Mike, like thousands of years.
Yeah. There had to have been another one.
Had to have been. He's being real picky, or they just don't make the cut. Like, they can't pass that test.
They even talk about that, right?
Yeah.
They say, well, he's like, of course there are others, but they just never work out. I'm like,
They
don't work out as sacrifices? Did he just not like them?
You were going to kill her.
Yeah, especially when it turns out that Gracie also passes the test, and it's like, so you weren't even restricted to just Chinese girls.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason, Lopan, you couldn't have figured this out, 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. But Lopan says one of my favorite lines in this entire movie, because even I think what we're talking about right now, Jack is like, I don't get that. And Lopan is like, you are not brought upon this earth to get it. I love that line, man. I love that line.
The lines that everyone's lines in this scene are great.
Yes.
I mean, they're hilarious. And Jack leans in real close when he's talking about sending them to the hell of people being skinned alive. And he's like, are you crazy? That's your problem.
Are you just crazy person?
I mean, James Hong is one of my favorite actors. Like, he is just so good and he's so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know this is really weird, but one of his favorite roles for me is actually in a video game.
Okay.
In Diablo 3, there was a jeweler, and his name is Covetous Shin. And that's James Hong. He's just hysterical. Everything I ever watch him in, he's so good. He's so funny.
He's a great character actor.
Yeah, I guess I first saw him in Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner. He's like
but I mean, he's been in so many things. Like, it's just amazing. Like,
I think of him as that old. He's kind of like Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. I always thought of him as being old because he was playing older than he really was. In Back to the Future. So I imagine, like, in my mind, James Hong has been around forever.
Yeah.
And he was old in the mid 80s.
He was old in Blade Runner.
He wasn't that old though. Probably he might have been 40s. I don't know. We can probably find his birth date, but
1929.
Oh yeah, he's old.
He was old already.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's cool. But he's been around and doing it forever, man.
Yeah, I like James Hong because he doesn't really take himself seriously. Like, he's the perfect actor because he's like, I'm acting because I enjoy acting. I like being in this film. I love what I'm doing. He's not necessarily trying to be like this famous person, although he is at this point. That's where I aspire to be. I just want to be doing things and just love what I'm doing. And you can see it in everything he does, where he's just like in the moment, having fun doing it.
I like that he played Lopan in that Lopan music video. The Gangnam Style Lopan style. We'll drop that on the blog. But
Okay.
I like that he's still. I mean, for him, this might be one of his career-defining roles. You know, he probably has more lines than any other English-speaking, at least, film that he's been in.
I think of this movie. I think of Blade Runner, and then what was the?
He's like a guy who's in one scene.
What was the
probably
Jack
most
Black
movies
movie?
that he's in.
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda. I think of Kung Fu Panda.
Mr. Ping.
Yeah, he plays his dad.
Saw Kung Fu Panda.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, he's Poe's dad.
Yep. That's the three things that stick out to me, but I know that he's been in like so many other things.
He's probably, of all the people in this movie, I bet he's gotten more credits to his name
Oh, yeah.
than anyone else.
And that's right. And he's in Star Wars Rebels, which is one of my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that doing more voice work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things is I think he's now transferred a lot over to a lot more voice work. He's in a lot of games now and things like that.
Isn't it amazing though, like to be like such a recognizable voice that like you can like hear him in like a video game and be like, oh, that's James Hong.
Yes, he never changes his voice to the best of my knowledge. Like maybe a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's basically just him.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sad. It's kind of fine because there's only so many of those voices that are in our media anyways.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sad, but at the same point, I'm always happy whenever I hear him.
No, he's definitely got the old Chinese man on lockdown.
Yeah.
So Lopan, he starts explaining to the guys that he's trapped in this old man's body, but if he can marry a green-eyed girl, he can escape and rule the universe from beyond the grave. So I guess that's his end game.
Yeah.
And also, it's just a humorous line, and then when Jack pays it back to him later with, hamming it up or whatever, like, then you'll rule the universe from beyond the grave. And it's just like, it's just like, it's a ludicrous goal to have, I guess.
Well, I think he says that he wants to be free and flesh, and then Jack says, "Oh, and rule the universe." Like, really? and Hong's just like, "Yes, well, I guess that is the plan."
Yeah, Jack's just messing with him, but yeah.
Jack, like Kurt Russell, he knows what this movie is. He's bringing all the humor out of every scene that he can. So he's got this wall of security monitors also in his great hall, and we see Margo and Eddie and Gracie. They're like at the front desk trying to get in. And then again, James Hong just being funny is like, "Oh no, this really pisses me off." Is he mad at his security guards?
Yeah.
Or I don't know what exactly it is that pisses him off, but it is.
Yeah, that he's being intruded on again. Like somebody else is coming to his warehouse to bother him. Yeah, like they have some really great lines in this film.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of serious, drama, action, whatever, and then also just they'll drop a line that's a complete joke into the middle of the scene as well.
I wonder if all those lines were scripted, or is that like James Carpenter talking to his actors like just go, just be in the moment, just say something, like we're gonna film it and you say what you think will be funny at this time.
This has the feel of a movie that was playing it really loose.
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of improv.
Yeah.
Because you've got a lot of funny people in that movie.
Then we cut to that trio trying to argue their way past the security guard, and like she's a reporter and she's gonna whatever, write everything down and whatever. We got Thunder comes. Oh, you got something?
Well, I thought it was funny that Gracie's trying to be like really serious, and she's talking about how Margo is like this serious reporter, and Margo's like in the corner like fumbling through her bag, like she can't even find like a pen, and she looks up, like, oh yeah.
I'm fuzzy on what Margo's purpose in this movie is. She never really contributes anything to other than just being another outsider.
Maybe we need more than one woman to be rescued?
Yeah, I was thinking like a love interest for Eddie, who also is a character who doesn't really need to be there.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have no idea. I know what she is, but I don't know what her purpose is. Like, she doesn't really add that.
Blows up their spot by writing a big expose or
only towards
that we know about.
Well, and I think that she was supposed to be the person that was going to blow open that whole like
human trafficking
thing,
yeah.
but that they don't talk about that very long at all.
And they just didn't need it. But maybe the first draft was, you know, the 2-hour cut of the movie that didn't get made. I don't know. We got Thunder comes out and he's like, I can help you guys out. And that line even plays for a laugh. I think the way that he delivers it.
Well, I think that's because of his accent. So I don't know. I don't know if he did that on purpose.
Well, it's like when Arnold in Terminator says, "I'll be back." Like the audience gets it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the line is meant to be just a serious line. But
what does he say? Like, help? Yeah, I can help you. I can help
but
you.
But it's like, yeah, you can help him into a jail cell. Or whatever. I don't know, but
and they just trust him. They just go with him.
They know they're trying to get into like the gang's hideout, and this guy's like, "Let me help you guys out. I'll give you the grand tour."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Cool."
Let's just follow this dude.
Well, yeah, you know, it's so funny. This really feels to me like a role-playing game where you have the novice party and they're just trying to go right into the front entrance, and Lopan's almost like the DM, like, are you kidding me? Are you like even trying? And like, so he's like trying to let them pass the security guard, but nobody can roll better than a 1, so nobody can convince the security guards. And the DM's just like, look, I'm just going to throw this guy. He's going to help you guys. So of course you're going to do it. And then of course it's going to be a trap because I'm having to help you guys too much.
We had to help you into the trap.
Right.
You couldn't sneak in, so we'll help you get in.
We as the audience would have still known it was a trap if it had been just some random like guard number 2. If he had just rolled up and said, I can take you for...
He's like, I'm a head henchman.
Yeah.
So, I can help you out.
Yeah.
All right, so now we go back to Jack and Wang, and they're being rolled into another cell with skeletons all mounted around the wall. And then it's the movie trope where they just leave them unsupervised. All right, we'll put you guys in here.
At least they didn't monologue them though. They just they did just leave them in there.
Well, I think that's coming later.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe it already happened.
Yeah.
But they just leave them unsupervised. So Jack tips over his wheelchair, produces the the knife from his boot. They didn't even search these guys for weapons.
Yeah.
Like,
nope.
I don't know what kind of operation they're running here.
So
I'm made of thunder. Why do I care if you have a knife?
Thank you. I said it earlier. I was thinking that like thunder, rain, and lightning. They're on such a high level that they don't need to search anybody. Even if he does come with a knife, like so what?
But like turban dudes, they should have been searching.
They should all be fired. Definitely.
That's the Wing Kong.
Yeah.
That's the bad guys.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway. But thank God he's got the knife, cuts himself free. We got Thunder is taking Grace and Eddie and Margo into an elevator where they get gassed. He's got his elevators rigged up.
Oh yeah,
so, like it can do whatever you need it to. It's like the Batmobile.
What if you're that dude is like doing a fish delivery on Thursday and you hit the wrong button and you drown downstairs?
Well, they've got a hell for you.
One of those. Hell of the fish delivery guy.
That's what the guys upside down are for.
So does he use his breathing powers or whatever? Is that why the gas doesn't affect him? Is he like holding his breath?
Yeah, well, you would think he's not actually human, right?
Yeah.
I guess not, yeah.
I don't think he's holding his breath because he's talking to him the whole time. So he's explaining, like he's giving him some generic like tour of the place.
I'll buy that. He's not human, so.
Well, but he also does. As soon as he walks out of the elevator, he tosses like a cloth or something off to the side.
Okay, it's a cigar.
Is it a cigar?
He was smoking a cigar. He tosses a cigar to the side.
I don't even remember seeing him smoke the cigar. Oh well, I missed that somehow.
When he comes up and he's like, "I can help you," he has a cigar in his hand, and so when he flings the cigar down, he's like,
I figured it was like maybe he took something. It's probably just like I'm literally made of lightning. This gas is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
It's weird that he's unhuman smoking a cigar. Maybe that was just like to throw them off.
Yeah, I think that's why he threw it on the ground because he's like, I don't have to smoke this anymore.
And then we cut back to Jack, and I think Thunder tells the henchmen, tie these ones up or whatever they do with them. So Jack is cutting Wang free from his restraints. They're trying to figure out a way out of this place. Wang is trying to give us some more exposition, like explaining the legend of Lopan.
Yeah.
Armies of the Dead, all this stuff. He just throws monkey sacrifices out there as like part of the story, and then they just move on. Like, Armies of the Dead, monkey sacrifice. Oh, wait a second. I want to hear more about these monkey sacrifices.
I think they were just trying to... Is that the part where he's talking about how you would tell these stories as a kid.
Yeah, he was saying like, I'm Chinese and I didn't even believe
Yeah,
these stories.
yeah.
I do like that angle of it being like, this is like scary stories that your granddad would tell you, and you just always thought they were just.
He's the boogeyman. Lo Pan is the boogeyman to these people. Yeah,
absolutely. Then Wang he likens the legend to a fairy tale. I think it's. I mean, I think that's very believable when he says, "I didn't believe this myself." That to me gives it more of like a ring of reality rather than just, oh yeah, we all knew that this stuff was real all along. It's like the old timers know, I guess, but the younger generation has forgotten or whatever.
Well, I feel like they've always known about Lo Pan though. They've always known that, like, they even knew where to go. Like, they knew to go to his warehouse. So they've always known about Lo Pan. I don't know if it was just, how like, the mafioso, the Godfather, like, that's the Godfather, but you don't go to his restaurant.
They're out there.
Yeah, you just, like, I think it was kind of like that.
Yeah, they know he's bad, but you think it's a different level of bad, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to look at it too closely because you know he's bad, and if you start looking real close, but I think Egg is the guy who's supposed to be like, basically the old timer that knows, and that nobody, the wizard. Nobody else will listen to him, but he knows. I think he's filling that role.
So Jack and Wang, they hear footsteps approaching, and they're like, "Get back in your chairs!" I guess they don't know it could be a dozen guys coming, right? So they hop back in their chairs, put their blindfolds back on, and now like they've got the upper hand.
Yeah,
I guess, and that brings us to the end of this section. So. We'll be back to take on the next chunk of this next time. I want to thank Mike for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll have you back and we'll talk more about Big Trouble in Little China.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.